just a cheesy grin for a beat. And
Okay.
Hi, and then snap into your
Right, okay.
stuff.
Hi! As you could probably tell by the smile on my face, I'm super excited to be here at Peaslake with Chris Cockrill, who's a mountain bike coach and a key member of Sigma Sports staff. In fact, if you give Sigma Sports customer service a ring, there's a 14% chance that Chris will answer the phone. So Chris, what are we doing today?
So today we're looking at hardtail cross-country mountain bikes. This here is a Specialized Epic Hardtail, and I'm going to show you some key skills that'll get you nice and fast on the trails.
That's rad. Let's go spin some knobbles. Let's spin some knobbles. Now Chris, I've done a reasonable amount of mountain biking. Regardless of somebody's ability, how would they ride a hardtail to get the most out of it?
Obviously, main differences with a hardtail and full suspension, like we covered, is hardtail has no rear suspension.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to have to be really conscious about our body position on the bike and kind of how we're using our knees to absorb the impacts that we're getting from the trail through the bike. It's really key on a hardtail as well when we're talking about the bumps coming through the bike. Look as far down the trail as you can. Yeah. Again, something we'll kind of cover once you're riding the bike, and we'll have a little look. But if you're looking as far down the trail, you can plan for that smoother route and those easier obstacles to tackle, really.
And what about sort of basic kind of position on a bike like this?
Obviously, we still want to be in a position that we can get on the pedals nice and easy. That's, typically with cross-country racing anyway, you still want a lot of pedaling involved. Yeah. But when we're talking about downhill or sort of flatter sections where we're just coasting along, not really pedaling, we want to stay in a sort of backwards biased position. So we're not hanging off the back of the bike, because then we're not very mobile on the bike, but we want to be towards the back just so that we're in that ready position on the bike, so we're ready for whatever comes down the trail.
I guess you've got to use your body a lot more, especially on this, because there's no actual dropper post on this. This is kind of proper old school skills that you've got to learn here, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot more about your body rather than kind of the bike doing the work for you. Okay. So yeah, it's all about using your knees, using those leg muscles, nice big leg muscles, so you get a lot of power through it. Yeah, super good fun. You'd be really good on one of those.
Let's give it a go.
Give it a go.
So Chris, where would you ride this type of bike, and what terrain was it specifically made and designed for?
A cross-country bike like this is going to be more suited to smoother terrain. It's not to say that you have to stick on the road or fire roads, you can still go on trails, but it's going to be more designed for those smoother trails. Being as light as it is, and obviously again with no rear suspension, it's going to be that much more efficient pedaling. So uphills are going to be a lot more friendly, you're going to enjoy them
definitely
probably
nippy,
a lot
isn't it?
more. Oh, they're super nippy. You can get that power transfer straight to that rear wheel. So that's where you're going to get that really nice pedaling efficiency for going uphills. Yeah, they're great for covering distance in the shortest amount of time possible.
Chris, from my limited knowledge though, there's definitely a little bit of crossover between where you use a hardtail and where you use a full suspension bike as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not to say that one bike will do all, but one bike will not just do one certain thing, depending on where you live, depending on what trails you ride, it's better to have the right bike for those situations. But you can ride, as long as it's a bike, as long as it's got wheels, you can ride it wherever you want to do, wherever you want to go.
But I suppose if the pendulum swung in favour of really gnarly terrain, that's when you're going to be most efficient on a full sus. If the pendulum swings the other way, it's smoother.
Exactly that. Right. Yeah, exactly one of those, yep.
So we've looked at basic body position. Now another key skill and element of mountain biking, of course, is getting cornering right. And we're on a classic double berm here, aren't we, as well? So what's the best technique to approach or to use coming into one of these corners?
Yeah, like you said, two really nice corners here called berms. One of the things we're going to have to take into account here is obviously the bike that we're using, being the hardtail. Yeah. The geometry is a little bit shorter wheelbase. That's more designed for that pedaling efficiency that we've already spoken about. Yeah. Just means that it's going to be nice and manoeuvrable around the corners. One of the big skills we want to really think about is how we're using our body to turn the bike around. Okay. Main thing with that is you want to start using your hips to turn in the direction that the corner's going. Okay. Also tying that in is trying to look ahead around the corner. Right. So the key thing to remember is look where you want to go, not where you are going, basically. So always try and look to the end of that corner, and you're going to be flying around these corners nice and smooth. How did that feel, Matt?
Well, the 3 attempts, the third one I think was the best. It's just, I'm not great at going around right-hand corners, I favour the left, but I was trying to do what you said, trying to look ahead as best I can. Definitely use my hips, I've never done that before. And third time through, using those little tips, it did feel a little bit smoother, and I think the last one was just a little bit quicker as well as a result. So
yeah, definitely.
Not perfect, but all right.
One of the cool things was just where you kept that looking down the trail as you came out of here, which again was one of these where you want to keep that efficiency in travelling along those distances. By looking ahead, you're already further down the trail than you think you are, if you know what I mean. So you're already there.
On a scale of kind of 1 to 5, how gnarly do you think that was?
Super gnarly, probably a 6.
We've talked a little bit about the way these go uphill. They are pretty efficient at climbing, aren't they? But what about the technique to get it right on one of these?
Yeah, it's a lot to do with your gearing coming into it. So the main thing to remember is if you're coming to a climb, obviously from a downhill to an uphill, we want to be trying to get into an easy gear before we get there. We don't want to be halfway up the climb and then trying to smash through the gears, because it just means that we can hold that body position on the bike.
Okay.
Might sound a bit funny to be trying to hold a body position when you're going uphill, but it just means we're being more efficient, and then we're ready for whatever's coming further on down the trail. Even though they're super efficient, we want to save as much energy as we can for the rest of the trail coming up.
And what about a super steep climb? I mean, technique I've used and seen others use is to kind of start to lean forward and get your body weight over the front of the bike on a particularly steep section, and actually stay in the saddle rather than getting out of the saddle as well?
Yeah, most definitely, yeah. It's getting a balance between obviously weighting the front and also weighting the rear. If we have our weight too far forwards, the rear's just going to start spinning, and then we're probably going to have to bail out and start running or getting off the bike. If we have our weight too far back, even though we're getting weight down on that tyre to stop it spinning, we're starting to rotate the bike backwards. Yeah. So yeah, what we want to do is try and slide a little bit further forwards on the saddle, just so we're right on the nose, and that's going to keep that weight more central, so we're pushing both wheels in, but still having that balance, so we're continue going up the hill nice and smooth, nice and easily. So how did you find the cross-country mountain bike?
I had a blast on it. I mean, it coped with a lot of the very difficult terrain, really well. But because of the lack of rear suspension primarily, you had to concentrate a little bit harder, and it felt like you had to work just that little bit harder. But I like that because it takes me back to when I first started riding mountain bikes, maybe 25, 30 years ago, when all we had was front suspension. So it's agile, it's nimble, it feels a little bit more like a road bike in that kind of aggression.
Yep.
And it just feels that you're a little bit more connected to the bike. So from a purist perspective, it really is pretty special, and it makes short work, especially of the lesser, more kind of difficult terrain. It's just a very, very quick, agile, light bike, and it's also really nice to look at as well.
Most definitely. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. You've got to have the right bike for the right thing you're doing. This bike is great for getting from A to B super fast, super efficiently, and yeah, you've summed it up awesomely there.
Now, my MTB adventure, believe it or not, continues. If you don't want to miss it, you need to make sure that you subscribe to the Sigma Sports YouTube channel, because next up, I'm on a full suspension bike, and after that, I'm on an e-mountain bike.
And don't forget, at Sigma Sports, we're here to help. You can head onto the website to help choose your next mountain bike, download the app, or give us a call, or pop into the store, and we'll help you out as much as we can.